PC culture, treating others with respect, social justice warriors, whatever you call it, isn't prohibiting anyone's freedom of speech.
Hold it now.
I actually think now maybe social media has just given people voices to speak to what they believe or don't believe in. I think it's a good thing. If you're a good comedian, though, you can still make people laugh at edgy ideas and topics that they didn't think they would laugh at. And that's what makes a great joke and separates
But some of that edgy stuff gets censored. That's all I'm saying, even when it is correct.
Well, you still make me laugh.
I never really got into that.
Do you really think it gets censored now?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know if it gets censored. I think there's backlash.
There are consequences.
Okay.
Yes. And shouldn't there be consequences for free speech?
And shouldn't there be consequences for free speech? And shouldn't there be consequences for free speech?
I think that's the mistake people make.
Well, you know, free speech is free speech. You're supposed to, there should not be consequences for free speech. People don't have to like what you say.
Right.
But there should not be consequences. And I think what Joy is saying is that it feels like things are, that people are starting to get censored, but through fear.
Right.
It's tragic what is happening at so many American universities, where college administrators and faculties have become complicit in functioning essentially as speech police, deciding what speech is permissible and what speech isn't. You see violent protests, the senior senator from California referred to, enacting effectively a heckler's veto, where violent thugs come in and say, this particular speaker, I disagree with what he or she has to say, and therefore I will threaten physical violence if the speech is allowed to happen. And far too many colleges and universities quietly roll over and say, okay, the threat of violence, we will effectively reward the violent criminals and muzzle the First Amendment.
Decency, 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 decency.
I worry that liberalism is at a perilous point. And I know you write about this, and you wrote about Middlebury College. If you're not aware, what happened was Charles Murray, who's been a guest on this show, I don't agree with him, liberals don't. I think what he talks about, although he claims to be a social scientist, he does research, is thinly veiled racism. But there is a way to fight that, and that is to debate him, to bring up points that you can actually look up in books. That's not what we saw at Middlebury. Show the tape. This could be any college, by the way, when a speaker is invited, and this is what happens.
Murray, go away! Racist, sexist, anti-gay! Charles Murray, go away! Racist, sexist, anti-gay!
Yeah, that's the free speech of the left.
It leads to this big climax of shut it down. And afterwards, a mob actually attacked their car, and a female professor had suffered a concussion. This is not an argument. This is a religion, Bill. This is a kind of secular religion. You have to believe, if you're on campus, you have to believe certain things, or you are a heretic. What you saw here was the burning of a heretic. They don't want to hear other ideas because it will upset them, will hurt their feelings. The point of a university is to make you uncomfortable. It's to show you ideas that are going to actually offend and make your life a little more difficult. And so you can figure out the answer to them.
I think it makes sense to create an environment where people don't feel threatened by because it could hit a sensitive spot with someone.
See, your right to freedom of speech is rarely taken away by the sword.
Surrender will not happen. For the last time, surrender!
But under the guise of making a better country for all of us. And with these students, even when given a lifeline...
About the First Amendment free speech issue.
Free speech, as long as it doesn't harm another individual, that's the way I feel it. And while it may not cause physical harm, a lot of people, it does hurt them emotionally.
At what point is free speech, the First Amendment, more valuable than not hurting someone's feelings?
Where do you think that line should be?
I guess it depends on the person, like what you personally believe. Like if you're okay with like not using certain words, or if you feel infringed.
But see, that's the thing. Freedom of speech cannot only apply to individuals. Freedoms either apply to everyone or no one. Otherwise, ironically enough, freedoms become discriminatory. Now, as far as balancing freedoms with what people actually find offensive, the problem is nobody we interviewed actually agreed on what was truly offensive. Some of the words that you can't say, fag. Both agree.
Good, yeah.
Good. I'll read one, you read one.
Okay.
Gypped.
Tranny.
Raghead.
I've never heard that one.
You've never heard that one?
No.
Oh, okay, you apparently don't play Call of Duty. What if I were to tell you that you just earlier, you didn't even realize it, you used a word that's offensive that you shouldn't be saying?
Oh, I did?
You did.
What word?
Well, it offended me, and I'll tell you why. Insane.
Crazy. Yeah, you can say crazy.
Insane. These are from U of M.
Yeah, you can say insane, I'm with me.
Retarded.
Agree.
Illegal alien.
Agree.
Even my iPhone's frozen. It's crazy.
I'm pretty sure that's offensive. I wouldn't say it.
So you're not even clear on it anymore. Fag.
Illegal alien.
Fag.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Not be allowed.
Ghetto.
Agree.
Ghetto. Yep. Ghetto.
Not be allowed. Yeah, you could say ghetto.
Obviously, you're an African-American gentleman.
Well, it is. It's a huge win for the angry left that believes that conservatives ought not have a voice. And it's not just Ann Coulter, Stuart. It's all over the country. Ayaan Hirsi Ali, the Dutch ex-Muslim politician who became an activist against the oppression of women in the religion of Islam, was given an honorary degree at Brandeis, invited to speak, and a petition was passed around, signed by students and teachers. They rescinded the honorary degree and took back her invitation to speak. Condoleezza Rice was supposed to give a commencement speech at Rutgers and became so controversial she withdrew because she didn't want to be a distraction. Heather McDonald is a researcher at the Manhattan Institute. She writes about cops. She was invited to speak at Claremont McKenna College here in California, and the students and protesters barred people from entering the building where she was supposed to speak. This is outrageous, and it's going on all over this country.
I'm perfectly okay with a leftist speaker to come on campus and to tell why they think those ideas are better. And the question I'm going to pose throughout this whole discussion is, why is it that it's always the leftist activists rioting and protesting and storming stages and pulling fire alarms, and us conservatives, we sit quietly when we hear things we disagree with, and then we go back and we say, wait a second, why are you shouting our speakers down and you're rioting and protesting violently on college campuses?
Just a peaceful protest, protesting, taking down Robert E. Lee monuments where we, just light torches on fire. It's not that big of a deal. It's not reminiscent of the KKK in any way, shape, or form. I wanted to ask you something. First of all, we don't really have a narrow definition of safe space, and it always seems to me like conservatives are both claiming that liberals are looking for safe spaces, but then they also try to act like they are the victims themselves. So which one is it, Charlie? Are you guys the ones that are looking for safe spaces on college campuses?
I'm looking for the ability to speak freely.
Oh, okay.
So look, I'm not playing the victim card. I'm happy to speak freely and to tell you why I disagree. Here's where it's different. When Ben Shapiro goes to DePaul University, by the way, the Young Turks did a 6.5-minute segment saying this was wrong and saying that this is an
Absolutely. I think every speaker should be on campus. I personally agree with that. Even if they are violent Nazis like Richard Spencer, who
we agree that every speaker should be on campus.
Yeah, I agree with that. And personally, in a perfect world, I wish people wouldn't protest and let them talk to a crowd of 30 other horny MAGA chuds that basically listen to the racist, violent shit that they have to say. And by the way, no offense, I'm not saying all of you guys are horny MAGA chuds.
And more speech is the answer to hate speech, not less speech.
Yeah,
allowing more ideas and perspectives to be heard.
By the way, going back to the safe space argument.
Let's talk about safe spaces.
No, we originally kind of strayed away from that a little bit, but going back to the safe space argument, I don't understand why people that feel as though they have been victimized by racism or sexism or bigotry or intolerance of any form can't have a singular small area where a safe space would have saved Tyler Clementi's life.
They say, many of these campuses go out and say, for example, when they disinvite Ben Shapiro at DePaul University, They say so many students are offended by his remarks, he should not be allowed to show up on campus. It feeds
Maybe he should be
into-
less offensive. Unfortunately, when you are face to face with those people that you are personally attacking, they're going to react. That's the reason why there are so many organizations that try to bring, or used to try to bring, Milo Yiannopoulos, who is a known pedophile.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, wow, I just got heckled so hard. Let's hug ISIS. That's what I advocate for. I'm like, let's bring ISIS into our country and hug them one by one. Actually, you know what? If we did have a Hug ISIS program, maybe we could change some people that are at the brink of radicalization, potentially, understand them. But yeah, I know, those are far too extreme concepts.
You know, free speech gives you the right to say offensive things, but it doesn't necessarily give you you shouldn't expect the right to be invited everywhere.
And I am disagreeing
and when I tell you,
and you're trying to overtalk me
it's not
here.
Debate when you tell me.
No. You're watching debate happen and you don't like it. I'm waiting for you to call me.
No, actually, I was
practitioner of hate speech.
No, not at all.
Look,
But lobbing insults at people, isn't debate.
I'm soliciting an answer from you. I keep asking you the same question, which is, how do we decide? What are the standards? Who gets to make that call? What's legitimate and what's not? And you can't answer the question.
I can answer the question. It's just you keep clouding it with insults.
Come on, Professor, just give me a real answer.
Yeah, the real answer is when a reasonable person is fearful for their own safety or the safety of someone else, that classifies as hateful speech.
How do you decide what a reasonable person is? Perhaps I feel intimidated. Hold on, maybe I feel intimidated by you right now. I think I'm a reasonable person. Should we consign you to the hate speech bin? I mean, what does that even mean? These are totally subjective categories. That's why normal people, old-fashioned liberals, used to say, we let everybody talk, right? Remember that?
Yeah. So reasonable person is actually a concept in the U.S. law. It's a concept that's used by judges and lawyers and other legal actors to make legal decisions.
I got 30 seconds. Define what it means.
A reasonable person is the average person.